Are you wondering if you should upgrade from the original Wyze doorbell? Or perhaps you are just looking for a battery-powered doorbell from a company that you're familiar with. Enter the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. That's right, brought to you by the same company that has pretty much disrupted the market with their affordable and good surveillance cameras, whether they're indoor, outdoor, pan tilt, whatever. Now they have come out with their culminating doorbell. I will say the flashing that you see there it's really just coming on, but my camera doesn't like the frame rate that that's going at. So that's why it looks like it's stuttering. It's really not. You're gonna notice one of the biggest differences between the Doorbell Pro here and the original Wyze doorbell is actually the size. You can see it is pretty much half the size of what the new doorbell is. And I'm gonna tell you, even though this is a video doorbell, what you get packed in this compared to the original is a step up in performance. So I hate to say it, if you are looking at the original doorbell versus this one, I would suggest this one hands down, because of all the features that we will get into a little later. What we're looking at here is a device that is 5.5 inches long, has a width of 1.8 and a depth of 1.1, which is not bad at all considering the fact that this is a video doorbell and video doorbells have to have batteries in them. Now the Video Doorbell Pro here has two 3,250 milliamp batteries with a stated life of between 3 to 6 months depending on activity. I'm gonna say that is the one downfall about this. That is a grossly overestimated battery life. I've been testing this for about 4 months now and have had to charge it twice. And this is compared to other battery doorbells that I have tested aside from the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro here. I will say that is one of the trade-offs that you get with a battery-powered doorbell as opposed to something that is directly wired, is that battery life and having to charge it occasionally. I will say when you do charge it, this light here will actually slowly pulsate white, and then when it's fully charged, you will see a solid blue. Now, it depends on the charging method as to how long that will take. Roughly for me, it took about 6 hours to charge. Up here at the top might be a little hard to see, but you have your status LED indicator light, which can be turned on and off using the application, which we'll discuss a little later. Moving down, we have our camera lens. This camera lens is a 1440 by 1440 full HD lens with a field of view of 150 horizontal and 150 vertical. What does that mean? You are going to get a box-shaped video from this, and it is going to be fisheyed. It is the one big difference between the original and the Pro for the video quality is that fisheye. However, you get to see a lot that's going on with this because of that. On either side of the lens, you have 3 IR lights, which help us see in the dark very well. However, the sensor for our lens here is Wyze's Starlight sensor. So if you've seen version 2 or the pan version 2, you'll know that you can see pretty well in the dark as long as you have a minute light source. That is the same sensor that is going to be in the Video Doorbell Plus here. So you have the option of having that for those low light situations. Moving down, you have your PIR sensor, and yes, this is again one of the things that is common with battery powered video doorbells is the PIR sensor. That PIR sensor is how this is going to be triggered. That triggering happens when heat and motion are detected, and you can set the range in the application. I will say the notification push from this and detection is better than some other battery powered doorbells that I have tested. While not perfect, it's above average, I will say. Down here we have our microphone because this is a two-way talk device, meaning somebody at your door can hear you talking and you can talk back to them. And down there flashing continuously because it keeps detecting me is your big doorbell button. If I press on it, you will hear audio right from here, and I will say the actual look of this doorbell is good in that it dedicates right here. Push this. This is the button. With the original video doorbell here, I had people pushing on the lens because they thought that that was the actual doorbell. No chance of screwing that up right there. You know exactly what you're looking at. At the bottom here is the speaker. That is where the sound comes out of, and there is also our locking screw. That is a locking mechanism. Coming around to the back, because there's really nothing else on the tops or side, we have, these are right here, these are our mounting slots. We have a flap right here. Well, what's behind the flap? Well, that is our micro USB charging port. Yes, that is how you charge this device. However, if you wanted to, you could see these two contact points right here. These are for if you have a pre-existing powered doorbell, you can attach them here and make this not a powered doorbell, but you can trickle charge your battery in here so you don't have to take it down if you want to have this wired up that way. Right here, this is a power button. That's actually your syncing button, which takes place during the setup process. And then down here, this is actually where the screw hole kind of nips in to the mounting plate on the back. Now, when I say mounting this device, because this is a wireless doorbell, a battery powered doorbell, the installation process for this is ridiculously simple in that you pretty much take the faceplate, put it up on the wall, screw into place, slide this into place, and lock it in. However, the installation process is super simple, but there still is a setup process because you have to pair this to your Wyze account and something that's sitting off camera, which we'll talk about, the included Chime. So why don't we take a look at what the setup process for this looks like. This is going to be setup of the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. First, you're going to have your Wyze app, which requires you to have an account. So if you don't have one, set one up. After which you open up the application, and in the upper left-hand corner, we select the plus sign. We are going to say add a device up at the top, and then you have choices. You have camera, sensor, power lighting, home, and lifestyle. This is a doorbell, but it is also a camera. So we select camera, and then we scroll down, and then we look for Video Doorbell Pro. We select Video Doorbell Pro, and it's letting us know, here's what we're looking at. So what we have to do first is press and hold the power button for 5 seconds on the back of the Video Doorbell Pro. So here is our power button right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Power on.
So the directions have slightly changed because it said power on, that's flashing, but it did not give me a tone. But we're gonna hit next and see what happens. Giving you recommended placement from your Wi-Fi access point to the Chime itself, to the actual doorbell. We're gonna hit next. So we're gonna plug in the Chime right now, and on the Chime
Bluetooth is connected.
the Chime itself has a Wi-Fi indicator on the front of it.
To connect.
Wi-Fi indicator on the front. It said Bluetooth connected, so it's connecting to my phone, and it said ready to connect. So we're gonna hit next. I don't think we have to reset because the status light is flashing. So we're gonna say the status light is flashing and select next. It's going to allow access to my Bluetooth, and it is searching for my doorbell, which might have actually powered itself off. So we're gonna, so we're gonna try again because this probably powered itself off for power saving. So we're gonna give that a go again. There we go. And try again. And I think it worked that time. Gonna select which one we want. I like the fact that they show 5 gigahertz as a possible choice. We're gonna put this on my IoT network, put our password in really quick, select connect.
Start connecting.
And all that audio you might be hearing is coming from the actual Chime itself. So we're gonna see it's gonna connect to the Wyze cloud, then add a device, and then finish setup. So we'll see how long that actually takes. Connection failed. We're gonna retype our password.
Start connecting.
Give that a go again.
Connection completed.
All right, so connected to the cloud. There we go. You can see it popped up with my Alex A devices. Next, it's the time to install. So we can actually walk through the installation guide or skip it. Now, this is only the setup process, so we're not actually going to install it right now. This is going to be front door, but we're gonna call it front door number 2 since I have the original Wyze doorbell. Continue. And then we have, why are we primarily using this device? So self-monitoring security, pet monitoring, baby monitoring, something else. Well, it's a doorbell, so I don't think we're doing baby monitoring or pet monitoring. Monitor my home security myself. I have a feeling this is new for the addition of new cameras. We're gonna select next. So here I have a free 2-week trial of Cam Plus because if you have a video doorbell from Wyze, you're definitely going to want at least a Cam Plus subscription. So I'm going to select continue. You can share your device, and then this has a firmware. So we're going to update our firmware, and firmware can take anywhere from a minute to however long it takes. So I won't make you sit through that. Just know when you're updating your firmware, you see the light ring right there around the actual button is going to flash, letting you know that it is updating the firmware. Firmware has been fully upgraded. That will complete setup for the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. This will be installation of the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. In the box, you have everything that you need for several different types of mounting solutions. They do give you a packet with everything that you will need except for a screwdriver. The screwdriver that you actually see in here is actually for the bottom of this so that you can screw it into place and kind of have it held to the back plate. You have some jumpers which you will use to jump your Chime box if you already have one. I have the original video doorbell from Wyze, and I had these from that, so that's already in place for me. And then you've got some anchors and then long screws, give you a set of 3 in case you lose them, and then short screws, a set of 3 in case you lose them. Now, depending on how you're going to be mounting this, you've got several different options. First being, you have a flat back plate that you're supposed to use with this 3M tape. If you're doing this in something like a condo complex or an apartment, you would put that on that, stick it to your wall, and then this would slide into place. Now, if you're using exterior doorbell, such as I'm going to be doing, you have a choice between wired, which you have this big cutout here so your wires will go through, or if you're using it in a battery form, you can just screw a hole here, and mount it to your door. You also have the wedge plate, which will, if you need to angle it a little bit, you can use the wedge plate. This goes up against your door. You have your actual mounting plate, which screws into the wedge, so you'll screw the wedge in place first, and then screw your mounting plate, and then mount your doorbell to that. There you saw a fairly reasonable setup process for the Video Doorbell Pro here. Some other things to consider. Obviously, this is going to be outside. What is its weather rating? Well, the Video Doorbell Pro, just like its predecessor, is IP65, meaning for the most part, if you get rain on it, it's not going to hurt it. I have lots of video samples later on, which you'll be able to see this get wet and not have to worry. Now, the other thing to consider is also temperature range. Wyze states between -4 and up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I have currently been able to test this between 55 degrees and up to 91 degrees with 100% humidity, as you might imagine with rain. As I showed you during the setup process, the Video Doorbell Pro here comes with its own Chime speaker, and we're going to put that aside for a moment to show you the actual Chime itself. It's really nothing to look at, plugs directly in, you've got your pairing button right there, and what might be difficult to see right there, that actually is an LED status indicator light, because what this will actually do is, one, it'll show you a Wi-Fi icon letting you know that it's attached to your Wi-Fi network, but for whatever reason, if you happen to drain your battery and not notice that you're not getting notifications anymore, well, right there, once that's totally drained, that will actually be red, letting you know, hey, there's something you should probably look at. The beauty of a Chime box like this, aside from bypassing your home Chime box, if you already have one, is the ability to put this wherever you want. You can have it in a central location. The big difference between this and the original, aside from its size, is the actual power usage for it, because it has to talk a little more to the Video Doorbell Pro. So the actual wattage for this is 0.8 watts. Now, as far as smart home objects go, that is not terrible in any way, shape, or form, but it is only acting as the communication point between the doorbell and you. It's audio here. It is not acting as a storage device. There is no micro SD card slot in this. There is also no micro SD card slot in the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. It is one thing that Wyze does with their doorbells in particular. You cannot have on-device storage. That's both good and bad. You don't have to worry about somebody running off and stealing your Wyze Video Doorbell Pro, but that also means that you will need access to one of their subscriptions in order to fully utilize this doorbell. That means you're going to either need Cam Plus or Cam Plus Pro. You will not be able to use the Cam Plus Lite subscription with the doorbell. If you're wondering what the difference between those subscriptions are, I will have a link up there in the corner that you can check those out. With everything being cloud-based for the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro here, that means that the majority of how you're going to interact with this is through the Wyze application. So let's take a look at the Wyze app as it pertains to the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. This is the application walkthrough for the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. You can see if you have other Wyze products, they will be listed right here. And if we want to get into our video doorbell, we simply select it. Normally there would be a preview icon of the last thing that it took. However, I clear out those before I do videos. So let's get into it. Selecting our video doorbell brings us right in. We give that a moment to actually connect itself, and there we see 3 of 3, and we're brought right in. This is our video feed right here. I do have it for the circular cropped off, and we'll talk about that a little later as to why I did that. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see a percent for the battery. It is currently at 15% and marking red, letting you know, hey, you should probably bring this inside to charge, which I really like the fact that that's there. Right here, we can see our actual speed or data to the camera itself, giving you an idea of how stable your connection is, as well as the data feed that you will be getting. Right here we have a big HD. Selecting that will allow us to change from HD to standard def. So again, if you need to save on your bandwidth, that's how you'd be able to do that. Coming down, we have our Cam Plus indicator right there, because you will need a Cam Plus subscription if you want package, pet, person, all that fun detection stuff. You have your date and time, and then if we double tap, we can zoom in. and out. We can also pinch to zoom. So double tap will bring you slightly in. The pinch to zoom brings you in as far as you can go. And there we have a live feed of a camera going by, a car going by, right there. One of my neighbors, tap, tap. You can see just how far over that goes because that's my driveway, neighbor's driveway, and then the driveway next to that neighbor right there. Coming down to the bottom, we have our expand view. Doing that kind of zooms it in, notice it takes up as much space as it can. We can zoom that back out. We have our audio on and off. I tend to keep that off just to kind of cut down on feedback when I'm doing my test. We have our mute, so if I turn that on, audio automatically turns on, and people outside are probably hearing me talk right now, but that's how you have a two-way conversation. Selecting mute turns them both off. We want more options. We simply select the three dots right here. This will allow us to take a still capture from our image right here. We can record what's going on right now. We can change what type of night mode we want. Do we want auto on all the time or off? And then right here we have the option of changing our view. Notice, and it might be a little hard to see there, but it squares it off and then rounds it. Now the reason I kept it on the slightly fisheye view here is because even if you have the squared view, your recordings are always going to look like this. So you might as well see exactly what you're getting at all times if the recordings are not going to mirror what's visible here. So food for thought. Selecting our options again, we have our quick responses, selecting there.
Can I help you with something? Hey, I'll be at the door shortly. Hello, please leave the package by the door.
Notice there's no option for you to create your own personal away message. However, you do have these options. Then we do have access to our album if you wanted to get to your images. Now, again, the same thing I said about the Wyze Video Doorbell. If I'm going to do a quick response, opening this up, coming over here, then selecting quick responses, then selecting what I want it to say. Doesn't really feel like a quick response to me, but it's nice that it's there. Down here, you actually have your timeline. So if you scrub right here, you can see that's indicating that there was a person. This is indicating that there was a person with a package. So if you let go on that, it will load up. There's male person coming in. We can pause that right there. We can enlarge. We can turn on the sound so we hear what's going on. We can play. We can download our clip right from here. And then we can either share or delete if we select our extra options button when we are here. So we're gonna bring that back to live because that's really all the functionality of the camera and the camera settings that you can do here. However, we have more settings in the upper right hand corner. Simply by selecting the sprocket icon, we're brought to the extra stuff that we can do. Starting at the top, we can rename the camera. I called it Video Doorbell Pro just so I know what it was. Here we have our detection settings area. We have our motion detection sensitivity, low, medium to high. You can toggle that all the way up to 5 if you want. I have it on 4. That seems to do it for me and my particular situation. You can set up a detection zone, which I do have set up. And again, it uses the grid selection, which I've gotten used to and kind of like. So it makes it like maybe right there. I need that spot only in this to actually detect. So I can simply select it. Tapping it again will turn it off. You can clear, undo, or save. I am going to simply select cancel because I didn't change anything that I want to keep. We're going to come back one more time and we're going to come down to our event recordings. That big old plus there means that I have a subscription. Selecting this will bring me into the event recordings. Here we can see plus we have the Cam Plus AI detection. Is pressed means is the doorbell pressed. Records motion event. Does it detect motion? Here we have record cooldown. This is something I like that is new to Wyze Video Doorbell Pro, and that's the ability to choose how often you want the recording cooldown. I have it set for about a minute, but you can bring that no cooldown, meaning it'll just fire off all the time, and up to 5 minutes. We're gonna leave that at what I had, and then this is again something new. Maximum video length. I have it set for 180, but you can have it down to as low as 15 seconds, which is kind of your standard Wyze normal video recording clip length. Well, actually it's 12 seconds, but I maxed at 180. I want to see everything. And then events will end early when motion stops, which it does, but I wish it kind of would look out a little further. We'll talk about that later. And then schedule. Enable will allow you to set days and times when all of this happens. If you don't, then it happens all the time, which is what I want. Next, we have notifications. Again, you have the plus letting you know, hey, there's some extra settings in here. So 1, send notifications. Yes, I want to be notified when it picks up one of these events. I have the Wyze AI events, which are your person, package, pets, etc. All other motion I have turned off. Doorbell pressed, I have on, and then low battery warning, which it does do because it did that to me a couple of days ago. Here we have our advanced settings. Night vision, currently on auto, or on or off, obviously, on auto for me. Power saving mode, I turn that off. I want it on all the time, use as much power as it needs. Battery percentage, you saw that on the front. Timestamp, watermark, also able to toggle that on and off. Wyze logo, on or off. Show bitrate, on or off. Record sound, on or off. And then sync, and then wide dynamic range, really helpful if you have a lot of bright light behind you. So again, there's a lot of customization that you can do here. And I like the fact that Wyze allows you to toggle on and off things that you don't necessarily think that you need. Coming down, we have Chime. This is going to, again, be the Chime box that you get. So it's Chime volume, Chime sound. We've got lots of different sounds that you can go through. Do not disturb mode. Again, a godsend if you have a significant other. Turning this on, well, as you can see, turn on do not disturb mode, Chime won't ring, and it will push the notification to your phone. Period. Turning that on will let you select from when to when. So if you have something every day during a specific time frame, you can set that right there. I do not, because I want that ringing all the time, but the fact that you have the ability to do that with Wyze is one of the things that separates them from other smart video doorbells out there. Coming down, we have our accessories. Well, the accessory that we don't currently have any extra accessories, but if we wanted to, we click the plus sign right up here, which will allow us to walk through setting something up. You have your rules right there. Sharing, again, you can share your camera. If you have somebody who has their own Wyze account, simply share. Device info, as you might imagine, lots of sensitive information, so we're not going to touch on that. And then Wyze support, nice that it's there, but wish their case management was a little better. And those were all of our settings for the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. We are going to come back to our main page and quickly touch on the icons at the bottom. We have home, we have events, which will show us all of the events, which we can filter for person, package, which particular camera we want. That's all done right through here. And then you can even select which camera. You have monitoring if you have any of their monitoring services. You have your shop tab right there. And then last but not least is our account, which will allow us to access our services. Selecting our services, here we have our Video Doorbell Pro, has our current Cam Plus license. Selecting this will allow us to change it if we wanted to. And that is everything that you can do with the Wyze app for the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. There you saw one of the real primary reasons to get this over the original is all those extra settings. Even though this is a battery powered versus that being a wired, you get so many more features in this that the other one did not. So that is why you definitely want to look at the Pro here over the original. I know you can only get so much from seeing clips through the application. Let me show you the video quality that you can expect from the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro.
Press open button to make press open button to make a delivery.
You may have noticed in all of those video clips, you did not see a green target around people when it's triggered by them. And that's one of the things in the marketing that Wyze is kind of, I don't know, being a little shady about. Yes, in their other video cameras, you will get a green target box around a person if they're the ones that set it off. However, with this video doorbell and the previous video doorbell, you don't have that. I do not have the Cam Pro subscription, so I don't know if that's something that they add on to that. However, based on everything that I read, it's not. So I don't know why all their marketing shows that green box. So Wyze, what are you doing? Now, I know you saw what videos looked like and kind of got an idea of what sound was like, but you want an actual audio sample from the doorbell, as well as what you can expect from the app. Let me let you listen to what those are like.
Wyze Video Doorbell Pro, audio test, test 1, test 2, test 3. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3.
Press open button to make a
End test.
Audio test, outdoor, Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, end test.
Not bad, as you heard. Something to consider with a smart home device of any kind, including this one, is price. And I will admit, the Video Doorbell Pro here is more expensive than the original video doorbell. However, it is not the most expensive battery-powered video doorbell currently on the market. That includes ones that have subscriptions, but also those that are subscription-free. Because it does have the added cost of a monthly or yearly subscription, it does mean that you are going to have to weigh your cost benefit of this particular doorbell. I will say that the Wyze subscription model that is currently in place is one of the cheaper ones compared to Amazon or Google's subscription services. So that is a benefit when looking at the video doorbell, the Wyze Video Doorbell Pro. Another thing to consider is if you've already bought into the Wyze ecosystem, something that you can do with this very simply by setting up triggers in the actual application with other Wyze products is if somebody rings your doorbell, you can have the lights turn on in your living room or your bedroom to notify you that somebody's at the door. So if you're already in the Wyze ecosystem, the Wyze Video Doorbell would definitely be the way to go. If you are outside the Wyze ecosystem and you're looking for a solid, well-priced video doorbell, that is battery powered, Wyze Video Doorbell Pro would well be worth looking at, in my opinion. And if you're thinking about upgrading or debating between the original Wyze Video Doorbell and the Pro, I'm gonna be very honest, get the Pro. Yes, it's more expensive, but battery powered can be placed anywhere. Video Doorbell Pro is definitely the way to go if you're looking at getting a Wyze doorbell. Just putting it out there. With that being said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.